sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and can even keep you from getting the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS. Y'all have probably heard the expression, the things that, chap your ass the most are probably things you struggle with yourself. And I recognize this in myself. One of the things that chaps my ass are when people make excuses, right? When they say, I can't, they won't, I don't have, blah, 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 blah. All these reasons why they can't do what they need to do, can't achieve what they need to achieve. They got a million excuses. Well, I'm a long-time excuse maker myself. I try and wipe it out of my vocabulary. I've learned a trick that whenever I'm thinking, I can't, it won't, they'll never, blah, 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 whatever my excuse is, I've learned when I'm on my game to flip that around and say, I haven't figured out how to yet. Haven't figured out yet how to make to collect $1 million in this business. Hadn't figured out yet how to handle companies with 1,000 people or more. Hadn't figured out yet how to do blah, 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 right? Hadn't figured out yet how to lose the damn 20 pounds I've been struggling to lose for the past year. Hadn't figured it out yet. Not I can't, right? Not it'll never. Hadn't figured out yet how to get that guy to call me back, right? Own it. Because as soon as you start taking responsibility for things, amazingly, it brings freedom. So a lot of times on my sales calls, people make excuses, right? They don't even know that they're excuses. They're just what they've always told themselves or what everybody around them is saying. So one of those excuses that always, I would say it cracks me up, but it really chaps my ass, really, when people say, I just don't have time to prospect. I just don't have time to prospect. I'm too busy to prospect. Okay. Well, if you're in sales, what the hell else are you supposed to be doing? What are you doing? I don't have time to prospect is usually code for, I know you're busy. 100%. I have no doubt that if you don't have time to prospect, you must be busy. But busy doing what? What are you busy doing? There's this concept that I learned a long time ago, and it's called pay time. Right? It's time that you spend bringing new money in the door. The things that you do to bring new money in the door. Right? So things that are pay time are things like making prospecting calls. Right? They are time in front of people to close new sales. If you are talking to your existing customers, the pay time happens when you're asking for referrals and introductions. The pay time happens when you are talking, when you're working with them to see what other product services can you sell, right? That's what pay time is. Those are the things you do, one more time, to bring new money in the door, not to service existing clients. Now, there are plenty of things that are important that are not pay time, right? It's customer service. It's dealing with problems. It's handling your own, internal bullshit. It's doing your books. It's keeping all that stuff straight. That's important, but it's not pay time. So here's the thing. We can be busy, doing a lot of important shit, right? That seems very urgent at the time, right? Got to check my email. Got to go through all this stuff. Got to go do this. Got to go do that. The reality is, though, if at some point, if you don't do pay time, if you're not doing the things that bring new money in the door, your business is going to nosedive, right? It is not going to keep working for you, or you will reach a level just below mediocrity, and you won't ever be able to grow, right? One of the things I love about sales is one of my favorite parts about sales is the whole business, the whole structure of the business should be about how can I get better? How can I be a better version of me? How can I make more money with I don't know, sometimes less effort? How can I be more efficient, more effective as a person, as a salesperson, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur? How can I get better at this? That's the whole game of sales. As soon as you stop thinking, how can I do this better? You're dead. So how do we solve this? I haven't figured out yet how to create time for prospecting. Here's the reality. If you track yourself, if you were absolutely honest with yourself about pay time versus no pay time in your business day, most salespeople would find that they probably do way less than an hour of pay time a day. You go, oh no, not me. Most people, unless you're brand new in the business, do way less than an hour of pay time a day, right? So imagine if you could carve out 60 minutes to pick up the phone and call people you're not doing business with yet, to reach out to some of your existing clients and not just have a very nice, friendly bullshit conversation, but to have a conversation about who do you know, who do you care about that we should be talking to, that you should introduce me to. They would appreciate a call from me, right? If we're not out there talking to our clients about other things that we do to see if they've got enough pain to hire you to do those things too, right? We fill our time, right? You'll fill your time. You'll be busy with people calling you, who may not be offering you new money, right? Or you're doing paperwork, or you're going to meetings, or you're screwing around on social media, or you're walking in the halls talking to your buddies, or you take a 2-hour lunch. It's funny, I find this a lot of times. People that say they don't have time to prospect are often the ones that can always find an hour for lunch, right? How can I say that so clearly? I've caught myself doing that. How in the world can you always find an hour for lunch if you can't find any time to prospect? So here's my suggestion to you. Maybe do a test. Be, I don't like the words brutally honest. Be honest with yourself about how much time are you really spending on pay time every single day or every single week. I would suggest if you can't figure out a way, well, let me change that. I need you to figure out a way to at least have an hour of pay time a day. An hour. So where in the world could you find an hour? Right? Well, one way is to say, carve out an hour or 2 half-an-hour blocks. Have your call list ready in front of you with phone numbers, and you just start dialing the phone for 30 minutes. And if somebody calls you back during that time, send them to voicemail and call them. If you call somebody 31 minutes later, that's pretty damn good service, unless you're like an ambulance driver. Make your dials out in 30 minutes. If you're having, even with conversations, you're going to get voicemail 90% of the time. But if you are dialing out for 30 minutes, you should be able to make 10 calls or 8. You may have 1 or 2 conversations. But imagine if you did that twice a day and you ended up making 15 prospecting calls a day, 2 half-an-hour blocks. What would happen to your business? And maybe you need to do way more than that. But as a minimum, if you've been in business a long damn time and you're still interested in growing your business, imagine 2 half-an-hour blocks. Where could you find the time to do that? Maybe some of the paperwork bullshit you're doing, you could do that, before 8 o'clock in the morning, or do it before you leave at the end of the day, or create a plan at the end of the day for the next day with all the names and phone numbers, people you're going to call to reach out to ask, does it make sense for us to have a business conversation? I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. It's a bullshit excuse when you say, I don't have time to prospect. You've got time to do the things you like to do. Imagine if you made it fun to prospect, or you said, you know what, maybe I don't like the fun of, maybe prospecting is not fun to me, but I love the results. I love the results, right? Maybe it's not fun to lift weights, but I love the results I'm getting from it. I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. You want help with that? call me, 803-917-2817. Look forward to having a conversation with you. Hey, leave me a review. If you hadn't done that yet, hit me with 5 stars. Leave me a review. Write some words, nice words, bad words. I don't care. It's helping me. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the OBS Sales School podcast. If you haven't already, please take 1 minute to write a quick review for the show. It really does make a huge difference. Also, subscribe to the show and please forward this episode to somebody else who needs to hear it. As a bonus for listening, I'm going to give you access to a free mini course, 7 expensive sales mistakes you're making and what you can do about it. Go to www.7salesmistakes.com and get access to the free mini course. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the OBS Sales School podcast.